What the dickens is going on here? Corruption nightmare reported in the Jamaica Observer this morning, September 10, 2024. 5 PNP, 3 JLP politicians reported to Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment. What the dickens is going on here? Well, I'm going to be reading it for you. We're going to find out what it is that the Observer is talking about. Notice they said politicians, not members of parliament. So this may not be the 8 members of parliament that we are interested in. But the only way we'll find out is if we read and check it out together. In the meanwhile, let me welcome you to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for joining me and supporting the channel. I do appreciate it. I'm on my way to 10,000 subscribers. So please, if you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and do so now. That subscribe button is the bottom right of the video, not the screen, the video. You'll see that subscribe button. You hit the subscribe button and help me to get to 10,000 so I can cheer and carry on. Why not? Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. As a matter of fact, I would suggest you give it a thumbs up from now, because let me tell you something. When I don't read what the Observer write to see, we all will be scratching our head, with ears, with eyes. We don't know what we won't be scratching at what the hell is going on at the Integrity Commission and with these complaints that they have been getting from the public. Also, remember to leave your comments. I want to know what you think about what is going on as well. Well, let me get into it, because I know you're patiently waiting. 2 minutes now, I'm chatting. Let me stop and let me get on with it. So in the Observer of today, it says in the headlines, corruption nightmare. 5 PNP, 3 JLP politicians reported to Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment. It means that it's members of the public who would have written to Mr. Craig Beresford, who is the director of information and complaint. Yes, you remember Mr. Beresford? Yeah, man, I him did want to lock up Portia in the cabinet. That same Mr. Beresford is a man that don't joke, right? So let's see what it is the Observer is saying. A month-long probe by the Jamaica Observer has uncovered that at least 3 politicians linked to the governing Jamaica Labour Party and 5 linked to the opposition's People's National Party have been referred to the Director of Investigation at the Integrity Commission following allegations of corruption or illicit enrichment. So it was referred to the Director of Investigation. That would come from the Director of Information and Complaints, Mr. Beresford. Let me continue. Oh, and Mr. Beresford, remember, he's the one who, as Director of Information and Complaints, he's the one who actually receives all of the statutory declarations coming in to the Integrity Commission. So he's supposed to go through the statutory declarations and check to see if all is in order. And he's also the one that would receive the complaints from the public. So perhaps he received some complaints from the public. He went and checked the information against what was filed by the clearance that the complaint is about, what they had in them previous declarations. And if what was sent into them is not there, then of course it's going to initiate an investigation. So that is how I suppose he would have come to refer these complaints to the Director of Investigations. You see that? Great. Let me continue. In almost all of the cases, the allegations have been made to the Integrity Commission by people who claim to have information surrounding acts of corruption or illicit enrichment, but there is no documentation to support these allegations based on the Observer probe. That don't mean to say them can investigate. As a matter of fact, the law obliges the Integrity Commission to investigate all complaints coming in. So even if the persons did not submit any documentation, they have to investigate nonetheless, which means they're going to have a harder time because they don't know where to look except to where they were pointed, and that would have been cause them to have and spend more time doing the investigation. Please, everybody out there, if you know anything, do some research before, if you want to, ensure that corruption is weeded out, and you know something, somebody own property, see if you can identify the property so that they can, at the Integrity Commission, have an easier time of doing the investigations. It's going to cost the public a whole heap of money, and it will be cheaper for you and me if you just do a little research. You can get the title for $500. Is what I'm saying. You can go and get the information from the tax office. You can call the tax office and give them the name of the person that you think is on the property or next door, and they can do the checks, and you can find out the name on the property at the tax office as well as the volume and folio, and then you can report that now to the IC. You can even draw a map. You draw the road, you put in a landmark and draw a little map showing them where the land is in front of so and so, who is beside the land, and that will narrow it down for them. So it will be very helpful, and you'd be doing your civic duty to report and let them check to see whether or not, since them went and set it up, the government went and set it up this way now, that they can say that this politician declared these properties, and then you look and say, oh, so the property there, so you don't have to waste your time. No. So all you have to do, if you know something, you report it. All right, so there is my civic duty for the day. Let me continue. In its 2023-2024 annual report released in July, the Integrity Commission reported that 2 more politicians had been referred for investigation based on allegations of illicit enrichment. As a matter of fact, if they had read the fine print, they would have seen that there were not 2 additional parliamentarians who were referred. What it said in the report is that of the 7, remember there are 7, it's not just the 6, there were 7 members of parliament, and they were members of parliament, not senators, who were being investigated for having submitted false statements on their statutory declaration. 2 of those 7 were added to the 6 for investigation in illicit enrichment. So there were no additional members of parliament. The same 13 that were being investigated last year is the same 13 that's being investigated this year. You follow? Good. Let me continue. This was in addition to 6 members of parliament who were referred in the previous reporting year, 2022 to 2023. PNP President Mark Golding has repeatedly stated that no person on the opposition benches is among the 8, but the Observer's probe revealed that 2 ranking members of the PNP have been accused of laundering corruptly obtained gains and failing to report their total assets to the Integrity Commission. Let me read that again. The Observer is saying that what the Integrity Commission, some leaky faucet in the in the Integrity Commission pinched them and told them that a lie marker tell. There are actually 2 ranking members of the PNP, right? In Parliament, 2 members of Parliament now, because remember the senators are not being investigated for nothing. So 2 of the PNP high-ranking members have been accused of laundering corruptly obtained gains and failing to report their total assets to the IC. That's a serious allegation. It means to say, them do something, illegally, got some money, and then launder the money after that to make it clean. And that is what I'm being accused of, you know. Now we know there are 14 persons on the opposition bench. It's 2 out of that, you know. 2 out of the 14. And Mark is going to come and tell the public that nobody on the opposition benches. And I want to tell you something, my viewers and my subscribers. I have always been suspicious of the fact that the PNP risers, the risers that are in the PNP, they have been anxious to tell the whole public and the whole world that the 8 people being investigated are labor rights. Up to the other day, Julia Robinson did it at the women's movement. Said that there are 8 labor rights that are being investigated. And when the reports come in, when those reports come in, then we'll have to call an election. You remember that? And now this is saying, of the 14, complaints came in, and one of a very, very serious nature. That the smaddy laundering, corruptly obtained gains. Them a launder it, I wash it back and put it back and make it look like a clean money. That person must know something. And failing to report their total assets to the IC somehow. Me have a feeling that one now is Mark Golding. Why? Because I can't find a soul outside of myself, and very likely Mr. Beresford, who believe that what Mark is submitting is his total assets. Nobody no believe it. They think that he have more money than that. Mark is submitting that he's worth 2.1 million US dollars. That's what he said is his net worth. Had he not sold his family home, the one in Barbican, for 56 million Jamaican, his total assets would have fallen by $400,000. He would have lost money in the year. Right? So that is a one-off sale, you know. He's not going to be able to get that money again. So I take that out and I say that he is reporting a net worth of 1.6 million US dollars. And nobody no believe it. And I'm telling no, I believe it. The man broke. That's why I'm going to politics to see if he can rake in some more money into his pocket. Because that was how they made the money in the first place. Through their contacts in government. Through DB and G. Right? But nobody believe me. Them laugh after me and tell me I mustn't go out there go say them sinting. The people laugh after me. That goes to show you. So this one now, when I talk about failing to report their total assets to the IC, I suspect that is Mark. Somebody report him. Because them don't believe what he's putting out. Right? And he's the one that is coming out. Come tell us that there is nobody on the opposition benches that is being investigated. Have you noticed, my viewers and my... By the way, remember to like up the video. Like the video, man. I see you did very well the last time. Thank you very much. And remember, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. And I know you're going to forget to share, but you can always pause the video and come back. Go and share and come back, please. Now, as I was saying, did you notice that Mark Golding has been very silent these days? It is now September and his statutory declaration has not yet been certified. And he's been silent all of a sudden. Also, they were always paying attention to the illicit 6 and 8. Never once did they mention that there were 7 parliamentarians who were being investigated for making false statements on the declaration. Never once. And he's awfully silent. Right? Is it that he knew what was in the report? And so he has chosen to shut his mouth? That wholeness would have been based upon what is being reported by a nationwide news network, if you can't take their word for anything, being exonerated. Is it that they found out that his declarations will be certified after all, and now they have eggs on their faces? Is that it? Or is it that he's aware that somebody has made a complaint about him and the assets and liabilities that he is declaring as being understated? No one the people in my jungle knows him have more money than that, because them a come beg him. That's why they look on comrade, lost sheep and hustler. No one the lost sheep and hustlers, them come beg him. Anyway, let me hear what else the Observer has to say. In one of the allegations, a high-ranking PNP politician is accused of using international banking accounts to hide millions of dollars in assets not included in his annual declarations of income, assets, and liabilities to the IC. I wonder if them have evidence. Well, them said no document. Remember, now we know the Observer said that no documentation was provided. But remember, because the allegation was made, they have to investigate. We heard that in the report that is before the Parliament now, that has not yet been tabled, that they had actually spent $5.8 million to do that forensic probe into Andrew Holness's assets, right? Is it possible that that 5.8 may not only include Andrew's assets, but it may have included others, like this particular high-ranking PNP politician that's being accused of international banking, hiding his money in international banks, banking accounts? We don't know. But let me continue. Observer checks have also revealed that a senior municipal corporation official who is linked to the PNP has also been reported to the Integrity Commission's Director of Investigation. Director of Investigation now said move from the Information and Complaints to the Director of Investigation for him to investigate on an allegation of illicit enrichment. Hey! But that is not a member of parliament. That is a parish councillor. According to the allegation, the municipal corporation official is in breach of the Corruption Prevention Act and the Proceeds of Crime Act. There is also a claim that the local government official misappropriated funds sent to the corporation by the Ministry of Local Government for repairs to a state-owned facility. A state-owned facility. Similar allegations have been made about the 3 politicians linked to the JLP, with one claim of undeclared assets totaling millions of dollars being hidden in international financial institutions. That person might have been Andrew Holness, because remember, they had initiated a probe when they secured the services of a forensic investigator to look into Andrew Holness's financial affairs. So that could have been him. And based on the reports that we are getting thus far from the leaks, from the report, it would appear that after 6 months of probing, they came up with nothing and said them not say nothing illegal in anything about his financial affairs. So that would have cleared up one of the investigations into making false statements. I believe what they were investigating him for would have been false statements. He never included the bank accounts, right? So that would have cleared up one of the false statements. Don't know if they were also investigating for illicit enrichment, but so it is. Let me continue. JLP leader, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, has said that he is not aware of any of the party's parliamentarians being investigated for illicit enrichment by the Integrity Commission, and that his consultations elicited a negative response. Now, this is the kind of response that should have come out of the mouth of Mark Golding. You know, that Englishman who in our parliament illegally? Yes. How the hell can you come out and make a definitive statement that nobody on your side is being investigated? How you can do that? You can't do that. You can only ask, and you can only say, well, nobody said that they are being investigated. So that's all you can say. But you can't vouch for the integrity of any of those people. You think so if they were being investigated, they would tell you? Come now, shame on you. Me really cry shame on you, Marky Jim. I lose off of you, man. You couldn't be so dumb. Anyway, they went on to quote Andrew Holness as saying, I have asked as far and as wide, and I haven't got that response from anyone. But as far as I have been told, no. Holness told journalists as he toured the Clarendon North constituency in August 2023. Since then, there has been a wall of silence from the Jamaica Labour Party camp on the allegations of illicit enrichment. It's just as well, because now that Mark and his crowd of foolish risers have been up and down the place telling the whole of Jamaica, making an issue. Now that story come to bump, what they have done is highlighted and made an interest around the Prime Minister's statutory declarations not being declared, not being certified. And now that it appears as though they will be certified, it make Andrew look clean and make Andrew look good. And it is all because of their stupidity. Had they just shut them out and say nothing, right? Whether it is declared or not, nobody would have, they would still look upon Andrew as a thief. They would have still been looking at Andrew Holness as if him crooked, right? But now they have created such a big hullabaloo surrounding the statutory declarations, and the IC is now apparently going to pronounce that they see nothing in his declarations, because it's not the ICE then, a foreign investigator, then getting a forensic investigator. The people know how to dig and find things, right? That is now coming to say for 6 months they must search and them not say nothing illegal and nothing wrong with the man's declaration. You know what kind of position those stupid risers now put the Labour Party in? You know how that will make Andrew Holness look to the entire Jamaica because of their stupidity? They now have the evidence that Andrew Holness is an honest man, an honest Prime Minister who may just be unfortunate to have some bunch of crooks around him, and when him find them out, him fire them. That's how the thing playing out, because of these risers and their Machiavellianism. Trying to score cheap political points. Cheap political points, yes. Because if you ever know the amount of parliamentarians who for declaration are certified yet because the IC do audit on all of them and can't manage the amount. Them can't manage a whole heap of them sit down in there, not certified either. Although, by law, the Integrity Commission is supposed to check the leader of the opposition and the Prime Minister's declarations, and if all is in order, they are supposed to publish the summary in the Gazette. That's the law. So when one of them not get certified, it is noticeable. You follow? Good. So for the opposition and everybody in the society asking why it is that the Prime Minister's statutory declarations have not been certified since 2020, it's a legitimate question to ask. But to have it on political platform and talk about the illicit enrichment and have your surrogates them out there call the man thief, that is designed to sully up the man's reputation for political gain. And that's not right. You did not know what the Integrity Commission was doing, why they did not certify the Prime Minister's declaration. It was a hell of a risk you were taking by going on the platform everywhere you go this is your refrain. When you have a prime minister whose statutory declaration cannot be certified for 3 years, it is cause for concern. True, it is cause for concern. But when you're going to take it a step further to say that he should be ineligible to be prime minister or ineligible to be in the parliament, you're gone too far when you don't even know what is going on. And you are destined to have eggs on your face and shame this morning and can't talk because you took a political risk, and it would only have paid off if something had come saying that he was guilty of something. The report goes on to say the Integrity Commission has not said if it has told the 8 people that they are being investigated, and no attempt was made by the Observer to seek an update from the Commission, which cannot release any information until the matter is tabled in Parliament. The law restricts the Commission from making any report or public statement in relation to the initiation or conduct of an investigation by the Director of Investigation prior to the tabling of a report in Parliament. Insofar as statutory declarations, government contracts, and prescribed licenses are concerned, the law states that every person having an official duty under the Act shall regard such matters as secret and confidential. So evidently, they might get information from persons who are not restricted by the law, who are inside of the Integrity Commission, and even they are not supposed to be talking. Penalties of fines and imprisonment are prescribed for any breach. Chairman of the Integrity Commission, retired Justice Seymour Panton, reiterated in the 2023-2024 annual report. He underscored that the Integrity Commission Act provides that any person may orally or in writing make a complaint, give information, or notify the Commission about a matter which involves or may involve an act of corruption or non-compliance with the Act. Anybody can do that. Panton noted that when a person approaches the Commission in this way, the Director of Information and Complaints is compelled, he must, no question about it, he is compelled to record the information and submit it to the appropriate Director of the Commission for action. This is how now you make sure that integrity is in the system. You can't say you now investigate, you now record it. You understand? The Commission has no control over the complaints and allegations it receives. It must, no ifs and buts about it, it must, however, investigate them and make a note of the fact of the receipt and the investigation in the annual report. So nobody quarrel with them. They have to report that them investigating parliamentarians, judges, all sorts of different people. They have to report it. My problem, and I think it's a problem that a lot of people may have with them, is that they are not giving us any follow-up. You know, call the name. How can you say you can't tell us about the progress of the investigation? You know, call the name. You can say that we have investigated the 6th, or the investigation is continuing into the probe. That's all. You know, say nothing, and people want to know what is going on, and then the politicians them take it and run down, kick it around the place like football, and make a mess of the whole thing. Anyway, he went on to say that is what the legislation passed by Parliament requires, right? That they must investigate all complaints that are coming in. They must record it and they must forward it to whichever of the other directors that need to have it to carry out further investigations. That's what that was saying. The police received numerous complaints and allegations of various crimes that, when investigated, are found to be without merit. So does the Integrity Commission, which has no control over the speculations, rumors, or mischief making in the society. Meaning to say some of them are straight mischief making. When them go and check out certain things, nothing go so, and nothing could have never go so, right? But you know, these politicians and their surrogates will play all kind of games. to try and, one-up man the other side. All right, so it says, but the Observer investigation has indicated that some of the current allegations, particularly those against the municipal corporation official, could rise to the level of other state agencies, including Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, and Financial Investigations Division being asked to join the probe. Matter serious then. And evidently, even though they said that no documented evidence was submitted to the commission, it would appear as though they were led sufficiently in a direction so they could pick up from there. And it may appear that they have found something on which they can investigate and probe. The Observer went on to say, last Thursday, the Integrity Commission issued a news release saying that it has submitted to Parliament for tabling a report of investigation and an associated indicative ruling and full ruling of its Director of Corruption Prosecution. Additionally, the Integrity Commission said that a special report under Section 36(3) of the Integrity Commission Act that is associated with the investigation report has also been submitted to the Parliament for tabling. So what this is saying is that they have done an investigation, they completed the investigation, and they have submitted the investigation along with the ruling of the Director of Corruption Prosecution and a special report. That appears to what that seems to be saying to me. On Monday, the Commission further advised that it has submitted 2 additional investigation reports to Parliament for tabling, as well as a 6-page third-party witness statement that is germane to the investigation report that was submitted to the Parliament on September 5, 2024, which we now have learned, or it has been said and reported, that is associated with the Prime Minister's declarations, and we'll talk about that shortly. The reports are expected to be tabled when Parliament resumes from its summer recess. So it seems as if Parliament will not be resuming today, or at least so it appears. I have checked, and up to yesterday, at least the Parliament here, and I spoke to, said they have not been given any notice that the Parliament will be in session today. So what have we learned from the Observer? Remember to give the video a like if you enjoy the content so far and you find it informative, and to subscribe. What have we learned from the Observer? Now, I want to remind you that these are all unofficial reporting by the media. They could be wrong, they could be right, but we are going to take it at face value that they indeed had their contacts inside the Integrity Commission, which seems to have some very leaky faucets, right? The PNP seem to have their links inside there. The Observer found somebody inside there willing to talk to it and tell it what's going on. It's now up to us to determine whether we believe any of what they are saying to us. But since it is there, let us assume that what is being reported here is so. Then you're talking about 5 PNP and 3 JLP politicians that will be probed for illicit enrichment. This 8, one of the 8 that is being reported here, is actually a parish councillor. A PNP parish councillor. Sounds to me like it may well have been the mayor, one of the mayors, either present or former. That's what it sounds to me like. So the Observer in this article is identifying 7 of those who were being investigated for illicit enrichment. The conclusion of 2 investigations into illicit enrichment were submitted to the Parliament on Monday. And I'm sure I can speak for you when I say that we're looking forward to seeing what's in those reports and who the reports were about. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me, for keeping my company as usual and being so patient. Remember to like the video, share, subscribe, and leave your comments. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and walk good.